Shit, the way my stomach just turned from that first drop, I don't know how I'm gonna do this landing. Like, I'm already nauseous, my stomach is turning, my head is pounding, the light and everything is making me uncomfortable. Like, hey humans, it's Joycelyn. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you the story time of when I almost became a spirit on a Spirit Airlines flight. If you're interested in this type of content, go ahead and click the subscribe button and check out my Storytime playlist below. Let me set the scene for you, right? The day before my flight, it was very hectic. I just got my hair done. I was waiting for my packages to come in, still packing, and I probably slept like 3 hours that night. Only because there was so much going on, and you know when you're like anticipating a trip, you can't sit down and like rest because you're like waiting, you know? I ended up driving to work, and then after work I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave my car at the station and then go. However, when it was time for me to leave, I got stuck in like a pseudo meeting and they talked my head off for like an hour. So I'm trying to get out of this meeting. I'm doing everything I possibly can to get out of this meeting, but they won't let me go. And I'm like, fuck it, I'm about to be late. So I end up leaving, and it's now an hour later than when I anticipated on leaving. So now I'm stressing about, am I gonna make my flight? It leaves at 5:40. It's currently 3 o'clock, and the GPS is saying I'm an hour and 40 minutes away. So I'm stressed about my flight. I didn't check my bags. I'm like, there's so much going on. I have other, work things on my mind, and I was just flustered, right? Also, I don't think I had eaten or had drank anything at this time. So I'm driving to the airport, and my friend was like, just go ahead and like pay for the long-term parking and go on your trip. And I was going on a 10-day trip from LA to Mexico via cruise, and then I was going to road trip from LA to Palm Springs and Joshua Tree Park. So I was going to be gone, an extended amount of time, so paying for parking was like almost $100, and that was with the discount. Like, that was the cheaper version. Plus, when you check a bag with Spirit, you check round way, so I'm like, I'm about to waste my money spending for a round trip to check my bag. That's $60 something both ways. That's like $120. Like, I could really just book another one way for tomorrow. So everything in me was telling me, just reschedule your flight. Like, I called Spirit while I was driving to the airport, still in an attempt to try to make it there. And they were like, yeah, if you change your flight, you're only gonna get $16 worth of, a voucher to use for another flight. Like, you would lose 90% of the value of your flight. And I'm like, huh? Okay, that's bullshit. So I'm like, fuck it. I'm either gonna have to miss this into LA, or and just take the one way back, or figure out another airline to go with. So now I'm looking up like American Airlines flights, and I see one for like $200, and I want to book it, but I'm like talking to my friend, and they're like, no, try to make your flight, you know what I mean? So I arrive at the airport. It takes me a while to find the long-term parking. I park, and then I get on the shuttle to go to the gate, pretty much. So I shuttle to the airport. When I arrive, I check in, and I'm talking to the lady at the counter, and she's basically like, your flight is boarding. You are gonna miss it if you don't run. So she swipes my credit card. I've never seen somebody swipe a credit card that fast. She swipes my credit card, takes my bag, and I'm running to security. I go through security, and thank God, she was very kind. I'm pretty sure she called them and said, don't close the gate yet, because when I tell you I was the last person to board that flight, I was the last person to board. I'm tired, I'm fatigued because I didn't sleep, I'm thirsty, I'm hungry. It's a recipe for disaster. I run to my flight, and I get on, and then I look, and I see somebody's in my seat.
What the fuck are you doing?
And I had a window seat, and I was like, you know what? I'm grateful to even have made this flight. You want to sit with your daughter? Sit with her. I'll sit in your assigned seat, in between two people. And honestly, I'm a big woman. I don't want to be in between two people on a flight, but they were skinny, so it was giving comfort, right? I'm like, I'm just glad I made my flight. I'm on the plane. I get comfortable. I'm like hot because I'm wearing like a coat, so I take off my coat, and I'm sitting there trying to get comfortable. And the woman next to me, she was very kind. She was asking me like, hey, like, it's really unfair. Do you want to switch seats with me? Because they should never took your seat. You paid for that seat. Like, that's wrong. And I'm like, it's really fine. Like, thank you so much. I appreciate it, but I'll just sit here comfortably. And yeah, I'm on my flight. So the first 2 hours of the flight were fine, right? The only thing I will say and this is the first time I ever flown Spirit, by the way, they don't have outlets on their plane to charge your devices or to like plug up your phone. So my phone had died. I was already tired and stressed already from everything that had gone on previously, and I have no way of entertaining myself on this 4-hour flight. Just sitting there twiddling my thumbs, looking up, looking out the window. The guy next to me was asleep. I hear the announcement of the captain. He was saying, we're flying over Wichita, Kansas. We have about 1,066 miles left to LA. We have about 2.5 hours left. And he was just going over, you know, basic flight information. I don't know what demons rest in Wichita, Kansas that have a problem with me. I don't know what strongholds rest in Wichita, Kansas that wanted to fight me. But as soon as he said we were in Wichita, Kansas, it was like all of a sudden my body started to like do some higgy haga shiggy shaga shit.
Higgy haga.
Started to feel a little woozy, a little lightheaded, and you know, they go around with their like, you know, in-flight refreshments and stuff like that. So I just get my water and like I order a Nutri-Grain or something. So, you know, to make sure that I'm eating and make sure that I'm drinking some water and taking care of myself. And like I drank the water and I feel like for the first 2 to 3 minutes, like I feel better, right? Like the wooziness subsides a little bit and then it gets worse, right? So I'm like, okay, I know like it's not my blood sugar I'm eating. I know it's not, and also I don't have diabetes. I'm hydrating my body. So I sit there for maybe like 30 minutes and I'm like having a pounding like migraine. I just close my eyes and I'm trying to push through. It wasn't too bad at that point. There, and I'm starting to feel very lightheaded, like extremely lightheaded, more than normal, and like almost dizzy. So I press the little button for the flight attendant and they come over to me and I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling too well. I feel a little lightheaded. Like, can I get some water? And she brings over like, you know, one of those small cups of water.
You got these little ass water bottles. I don't feel like that. How many ounces this is? 8 ounces.
I'm like, hey, actually, can I buy a bottle? Like, I want like proper water. Like, I want to be able to drink. So I buy like 1 or 2 bottles. I give her my card and I'm drinking. I'm trying to push through. And your blood sugar, I'm like, I don't think so. Like, I'm eating, like, and I don't feel like it's that. And I'm also starting to experience nausea, right? So I'm experiencing migraine, headache, nausea, like fatigue, dizziness, like that's what I'm experiencing. Eating, like I'm trying to really push through. And I asked the lady next to me, can she get up so I can go to the bathroom? I go into the bathroom and I'm standing there, feel like I'm gonna throw up. Like I feel like I need to vomit. So I tell my stewardess, hey, I think I'm gonna vomit. Like, so she gives me like a bag to try to vomit in, but like, you know when you feel something in your stomach but it's not coming out? That's exactly what was happening. Nothing was coming out. I'm standing in the bathroom and then put my hands on the like bathroom sink and I'm like leaning over it because I'm like, I'm ready to put my hand in my mouth and like throw up. Like I'm ready to just get this out of me. My hands are over the sink and I'm like kind of like rocking back and forth and I feel extremely dizzy. Like I'm literally thinking to myself, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through this flight because I don't feel good. And another thing I forgot to mention was that while I was sitting at my seat, I was like trembling, but I didn't realize I was trembling. I thought it was just the shaking of the plane. Like, you know, planes move, they have like vibrations and stuff like that. So I'm thinking it's just the plane, I'm not shaking. But I was actually trembling, the sink, just contemplating my life. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna make it the rest of the flight. Like, we have 2.5 hours left. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. The vomit isn't coming out, but it's getting progressively worse. My stomach is turning, my head is pounding. I feel lightheaded and almost dizzy. It's just not good, right? So, and then, oh, another thing I forgot to mention while I was standing in the bathroom was the sound was getting louder. Like, I was hearing like this warping sound. Like, you know when you watch movies and TV shows and they're trying to like show somebody who's like inebriated and like the room is spinning and like the sounds are not properly, you know, sounding. It felt like that. I didn't know those scenes felt real. Like, it felt like that. So I leave the bathroom and I go and talk to my flight attendant and I'm telling her like I don't really feel too well, and as I'm talking to her she's saying something to me, right? And I can't hear her. Like, she's talking, I know she's talking, I'm looking at her talk, but the sound is not coming in, like it's not processing in my brain. Like, I just didn't know what she was saying. I'm like, I can't, like, I can barely talk. Like, I'm not even, I'm not supposed to be laughing, but like, it's almost funny when I think back, because I was struggling to speak and tell her I cannot hear you. And the sounds were getting louder and louder and warping, and my vision was starting to go like, it was becoming very blurry, right? And I wasn't able to see as clearly. But I know she's trying to talk to me, and I was like, I was having a hard time communicating. But I was like, I need to tell her I need a doctor, right? If I'm gonna faint, if I'm gonna fall out, if I don't feel good, I need to tell her I need a doctor. I basically told her, I feel like I'm gonna faint. Can you call a doctor if they're on board? And I did not want to do this. Like, I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to cause, you know, any problems on the flight. Like, it's a chill flight. Let's just make it the 4 hours. And I board my cruise the following day. Like, I didn't want no wahala. But I was like, I'm on this flight by myself, right? Nobody, no family and friends are here to vouch for me or like, you know, speak up for me if I can't speak up for myself. I need to tell her I need a doctor before something happens. So I tell her I need a doctor. And she calls on the speaker saying, hey, if there's a medical professional on board, please come to the back. So a medical professional comes over. I believe there were two guys. One was a paramedic. The other one was like an RN or something very comforting about him. I don't know. Something very comforting about him. Maybe it was because he was African. I just felt like when they called the professional, like I was like, okay, I'm going to be all right, you know? So she's like, go ahead and sit down in the seat. She moves my seat. And I'm sitting next to a man in that back aisle of the plane. I'm sitting down and he's asking me what's wrong. He takes my blood pressure. I'm fine. He takes, what else is he doing? He was asking to take my blood sugar. I don't think they had one of those machines on there. And then he wanted to check my heart rate. So he had like a stethoscope, or they had a stethoscope. And he's like, I have to lift up your shirt. The way I flipped up my shirt, the way my breasticle, I said, I don't care. Like, when I tell you I was in so much pain, I didn't give a fuck if anybody saw my boob, if you saw anything. I don't care. I lifted up my shirt, and that's not like me, by the way. I am very like, I don't like being touched or nothing. I was like, I will gladly let you lift up my shirt and do this. So I lift up my shirt, and he's like checking my heart rate and all that, and I'm fine. And the paramedic is like, I think she may have like altitude sickness or motion sickness. The guy next to me, he's like an older white gentleman, maybe like early 50s, like 51, 52 or whatever. And he's talking to me. He's like, do you have anxiety? Do you think it's anxiety? And he's talking to me, and I'm like, uncle, I can barely hear you. I'm not feeling well, and you're asking me, do I have fucking anxiety? Do you think this is anxiety? We are halfway through this fight. You think I'm just gonna just become anxious out of nowhere if I'm having an anxiety attack? Like, no. Mindful, anxiety attacks have triggers. So, and I've had an anxiety attack before, so I know what it's like to experience one. Like, this is not anxiety. I have no worrisome thoughts. Like, my mind is not racing. All I feel is my body is not doing what it's supposed to do.
Shitting, farting, throwing up, passing out, throwing up again, waking up, passing out again, peeing a little bit.
While they're like doing the whole like checking my blood pressure and all that, the attendants were very kind. They got me ginger ale, they got me crackers. And one thing about the Spirit flight people, they will get their money. They will charge you your money. But at that point, I didn't care. I don't care if the crackers cost $1,000. Charge my fucking card and give me the damn crackers. And he's like, you sure it's not anxiety? And I couldn't understand why this man keep asking me, am I anxious? Leave me alone. So they're doing all the things, and he starts to like rub my shoulders. I'm sorry, it's so funny to me because I'm experiencing physical symptoms. Like, it's just so comedic to me when I look back, because it's like, nigga, I'm literally trembling. Like, at this point, I'm shaking violently, like the way I'm so cold. And while they're doing the process, I tell them, hey, can you go get my jacket, because I'm so cold. Like, I was freezing, like I was shaking, and my teeth were like, what is it chattering, or when it's like shivering, like your teeth, like, you know, it makes that noise, like it's like cold, that you're shivering and your teeth make that noise. It was doing that, right? They get my jacket for me and I'm still cold with my jacket, and I think there were 2 layers. Like I had a jacket and a sweater on and I was still freezing. Well, my jacket isn't on my body, right? Because they're doing the blood pressure thing, they're doing all that stuff. So the jacket is on me like this, and he's asking me questions about like my family history, you know, trying to like build some understanding of why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing. The guy next to me keeps asking me if it's anxiety, and I have the jacket laying over me, and he starts to massage my shoulders. And I'm confused because this nigga think I'm anxious and that I need a massage. I don't need no fucking massage. I need a doctor. And on top of that, I don't like being touched. Why the fuck are you touching me? And
hold up, shorty. Hold up, bitch. Please don't touch me.
the thing is, I'm already irritated, right? Because I'm not feeling well, and I'm like now requiring other people to like accommodate me. So I'm already irritated about that. And then you proceed to touch me. I don't know you, man. I don't fucking know you. I know he was well intentioned. I know he meant well. It just was not received well. He's like massaging my shoulders, and it's not even comfortable. It's painful. If this is how he massages bitches, let me tell you right now, I don't know how he keeps any women, because it's not comfortable. You are massaging me with your man hands and it's not even like giving. You know what I mean? Like, you're supposed to be working the kinks out my neck, adding more damage and injury. I'm gonna need physical therapy after that fucking massage. So basically, the flight attendant and the people started to sense that it wasn't giving. So apparently, like the last row, their seat can kind of go back a little bit, so like they moved my seat back so I can lay down, right? She told me she wants me to sit down because she doesn't want me to, you know, faint and like I fall on the ground. The ginger ale is not helping. Like, he was very kind, that man. He eventually stopped when I like leaned back. He was like, do you want me to open your crackers for you? I'm like, no, I'm fine. He's like, do you want me to open your ginger ale? I handed the ginger ale. He opens the ginger ale. I'm trying to eat the crackers and it's making me even more worse. So I'm like, shit, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. It's maybe what, an hour and 30 minutes left. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I think one of them said they have Tylenol and they want to give it to me, and I'm like, please, I want Tylenol. Give me something. Give me drugs now. Like, give me anything. Like, it could be fucking heroin. Give it to me. I don't care. But I don't know why they didn't give it to me. I think it was like they didn't know if it was okay to give it to me. I don't know. Next to me, you know, he keeps asking me, are you okay? Do you need crackers? Like, he's trying to make sure I'm good, but it's annoying. Like, you talking too much. And then I feel like he didn't only massage my shoulders once. I think he tried to do it again. Don't remember. But he says to me after he opens like my food and stuff and my crackers, and he notices I'm not eating or whatever, he's like, you know, I'm so sorry. Like, I wish I could do more to help you. You probably think I'm like some creepy guy. Like, I don't know if he said some creepy guy, but he said something to the effect of like, I can see how it's like weird for you to be like, how you're uncomfortable by me trying to help you. But mindful, I'm in pain. Like, at this point, I'm probably bent over, because when, like, you know how when you're uncomfortable, right? Like, your body, you don't want to stay in one position. I lean back, I don't feel good. I lay down, I don't feel good. Like, nothing is making me feel better, right? Oh, another thing they thought I was claustrophobic, and I'm like, I'm not claustrophobic. I'm a big bitch, but I'm not claustrophobic. Like, I'm gonna be alright. And like, it would feel like at times the symptoms, like the upset stomach, the wooziness, the dizziness, it would be intense, and then it would like subside for like 20 seconds, and then it'll get intense again. Like, it would like, the intensity would lower and go back and forth. And he's asking me like, you know, I wish I could help more, blah blah blah. And I'm on this flight just holding my stomach, and I don't know when I did this, but whenever they gave me my jacket, I took my money and my passport and I hid it in my boob, because I was like, I don't care how sick I am, I don't care how inebriated I am, I don't care how whatever it is, I'm gonna make sure I have my identification on me, period. I'm gonna make sure I have my shit on me, you know what I mean? Because you just can't lose those things as easily. And also, like, God forbid something happens to me on this flight, you need to be able to call my mom. And that was probably my biggest concern. Like, I'm on this flight alone, who's gonna notify my family, you know what I mean? And my phone is dead. Like, I have no way of communicating with them. Just pushing through. I'm like, I just have to push through, because I just want to land. Like, I don't want no wahala, I just want to push through. The flight attendants I had, they were the most kindest flight attendants. They don't get paid enough for it, because one of them, she was so kind, checking on me constantly, making sure I was fine. And then another one, she was great. Even one of them, I don't know if she has a BBL, but I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, sis, who's your fucking doctor? Because once I get out of this state, you know what I mean, I need to know who you went to, because the body is giving, the BBL is giving, honey. Like, hips don't lie, Shakira version. Like, auntie, who did you go to? Like, it was giving, right? And the guy next to me, I noticed he keeps leaning over like this. So there's 3 seats in the back row, right? There's me right here in the last seat that's on the aisle. There's him, and then there's his bag right there. So he's sitting next to me, and he's laying over like this on his seat. And I'm like, why is he have his hands right here in between his legs, and he's laying like this? And he keeps like putting his phone in the compartment area, like he was trying to hide his phone. And I'm sitting here like, what the fuck are you watching, and why are your hands between your legs? Like, what is this? Like, it was very much weird. And you know, I've seen some crazy shit in this lifetime. I don't know if this man is masturbating, I don't know what he's doing. So I'm confused. I'm like, and he kept like shifting, and like, it was just like, I don't know what to make of it, but I don't care. I just want to land. So I'm looking at him side eye, but I'm like, whatever. If he could literally be ejaculating on my face at this point, and I won't care because I'm uncomfortable. Like, I don't know what he's doing. Like, is he watching porn? Like, what is he doing? Because like, he's purposely like hiding his camera or like hiding his phone or whatever. And he keeps reaching underneath the seat. And I'm like, what is he reaching for? Like, what is he like? He would like have his hands in between his legs, and then he'll like reach underneath under the seat. So I'm confused. Like, it's a lot of weird skeptical shit going on, but I'm not making nothing of it because I'm crouched over trying to feel better. So then we have about 30 minutes left of the flight. So for the last 2 hours, I have been pushing through, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with me or give me anything that would make me feel better. And I hear the captain say, we have 30 minutes before we make our landing. We're gonna make our initial descent. Flight attendants, please store away blah 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 and find your seats or whatever and put your seatbelt on. And you know how like as the plane is preparing to land, like it'll start lowering its altitude, right? And you'll feel like the drops. So I remember him saying that and feeling the first drop, and I was like, shit, the way my stomach just turned from that first drop, I don't know how I'm gonna do this landing. Like, I'm already nauseous, my stomach is turning, my head is pounding, the light and everything is making me uncomfortable. Like, I feel like I'm not gonna, like, you know what I mean? And you can't get out of your seat. Like, I can't go to the bathroom and throw up. I felt like I was gonna throw up, you know, in the aisle. And I felt another drop, and I black out, and the next thing I know, we're on the ground deboarding. And I wake up, and everybody like on the front half of the plane have already left the plane, and everybody else is deboarding. And I'm looking around like, what the hell just happened? Like, last thing I heard, it was 30 minutes before we, you know, land. Like, and now we're on the ground. The guy next to me, I see him sit up, and he removes his phone and all that. I hear him like tap something underneath. And apparently he had a dog under there. I think he's like a disabled veteran, and that was like his service dog. So there was a dog under there he was petting the whole time. I'm thinking he's stroking his penis. Meanwhile, he was petting the dog in between his legs and like watching the show with the dog. I don't know what happened between when he said we're preparing for landing and I felt the second drop to when we deboarded the plane, but I suspect I passed out. One being because I was not drowsy, I was not sleepy, I was not like, obviously I had been awake this whole entire 4-hour flight, and the pain wasn't letting me sleep, and like, I'm not sleepy, you know what I mean? Like, there was no drowsiness. I'm not a person who's narcoleptic who will fall asleep instantly. It takes me a while to sleep, especially to sleep in public places. I don't feel comfortable doing that. So it wasn't likely for me to just fall asleep instantly and not remember. Basically my camera died as I was filming this, and I didn't know. But long story short, after we landed, I guess nobody realized I had fainted because I was in that like hunched over position for the last hour on the flight. They hadn't realized it, and all the flight attendants and everybody was seated by the time we were landing because they're preparing. So they were buckled up in their seats and nobody was walking around. So it looked like I just fell asleep. I thanked the man who sat next to me, even though, you know, I could tell he was definitely being kind and he just really wanted to help, but he was annoying. But I still thanked him out of respect. And I got off the plane and I felt completely better when we landed. When I tell you, I felt like a new bitch. I felt like I had just had the best sleep of my life. but I landed to a dead phone. I had no hotel in LA. I even thought I lost my passport on the plane, not realizing, and this is why you always gotta be smart, that I had my passport in my boob the entire time after leaving the airport. Book a hotel, and I book a hotel, I take the shuttle to the hotel, and I check in and I relax. And then when I got back from my trip, I had an appointment with my doctor. They ran some tests on me and everything, and he believes I also fainted due to the dehydration and the fact that I barely ate that day. So yeah, that's my story of when I almost became a Spirit on Spirit Airlines. I actually spoke to a friend of mine who also took Spirit for the first time and said she had a similar experience. So if she gives me permission, I'll put her story in here, or I'll talk about it another time. But yeah, that was basically what happened.